I was born in St Mary's Hospital in London. The reason I came to this area was because we used to come here on day trips a lot. My mum really fell in love with it, so we ended up moving here.
I was into the music scene, which then consisted of all dayers, soul, all dayers, in the Kent area. And then we would sometimes come to Margate and make our own entertainment, take part in the arcades and use the beach. I think Margate was a friendlier place then. It's not so friendly now. But then I guess we were just coming on day trips and not living here, which is maybe what people thought about black people coming to England, that we were just here for a day trip or a short time and would go back home again.
I moved here based on just, wanting to get a fresh start, it was a good thing to be able to get a fresh start. It was something that I think we all needed, like all of me and my family needed. I think it's definitely done me good. My original thought of Margate was that it was quite posh and quite, I thought it was quite an innocent place, and I thought it was quite nice and quiet, very quiet, definitely quiet.
The journey was very hard. I walked many miles in Ethiopia and traveled by lorry and on foot Sudan into Libya. Like a small one.
A small boat?
Just normal small. It was crowded, 120 people they put us together. That's why many people died, because it's not safe boat. Yeah. I hid in the lorry and I arrived in England. I am happy to be in Kent and that my life was saved. I want to talk so people know how difficult it is to travel here.
You can breathe really, really deeply here. And often I sit. I used to live just on Margate seafront, a minute away. And during the summer months, I often used to get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and just go and sit by the sea and watch, just look out to sea. I don't know what I'm looking at, but starting my day that way, and it is so cleansing, it's so cathartic.
Coming down here, first time I ever experienced being racially, profiled or being shouted at in the street, racially, and it was a shock, but it was just one of those things that were, well, I can't kick and scream about it.
And a lot of the time it just makes me laugh, because I just think, come out with something original.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, what can you possibly call me that I haven't called for? But there's also been good experiences with Margate as well. Like, I've met some of my best friends here. Like, it's where I live. It's my home. It's my home now.
I just just I was playing with my friend outside, and they said, "We are going to Ethiopia." I said, "Could I come with you, please?" They said, "No, no, no." I said, "Please," and we came together Ethiopia.
Did they ask you and you went that day?
Yeah, just that day.
You're playing outside with your friends, they say we're going to go to another country and
Yeah, I just could I come with you, please? They said, "No, no, no. What about your parents?" I just please, and they said yes. We went to Ethiopia.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that minute.
Yeah, my parents doesn't know where I was.
To me, that's absolutely mind. I mean,
I don't even like walking down the road myself.
it's like you say,
there's no
there isn't a choice.
There isn't a choice.
No.
It's about survival.
Yeah, and it's that primal instinct just to, to survive and I think for me sitting here, I'm so glad that you made that decision.
I think London was just one of those places which is very accessible, like, especially like being able to go to a supermarket and actually find things that you need and actually find the hair products that you need. Like finding hair products is one of the smallest. It's one of the smallest things, but it's so important and it's annoying to not be able to just go down the road and go into a hair shop and buy whatever you want. It's very difficult to find what I need to cater to my colour, my culture. Do you know what? It's such a good thing that there's online, because otherwise I don't know what I'll do. Honestly, I really don't know.
That's why I say there's always ways round things, and so I got an allotment because I could grow things, or I'd pop to Lewisham Market because that was the closest, big place in London. I could, go to the hairdresser and get my hair steamed. And people wouldn't be asking me, "Oh, do they come off?" And it's those sorts of questions, and I could go and pick up, big pulses, like bags of pulses and seasoning and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's always ways around things.
I think it's different. I think Margate's different depending on how old you are, what generation you're from. Because as a teenager, I see more than what anyone else sees. I think, or at least I've, whether that's the people I choose to hang around with, or whether that's just the way that teenagers are nowadays, right down here, it's actually to hear that, like, people think that Margate's calm and that, like, it is, but at the same time, it's the backside of it. It's the
underneath the surface.
It's knowing every teenager around here and knowing what people get themselves into, and it's knowing with me with teenagers my age, like, I don't know, like, the way that people carry themselves is just not. I don't think it's. I don't know how to explain it. I think most of it is to do with upbringing, though. I do think it is. Same as racism, I think it's ingrained. I don't think it's...
Yeah.
Tell you one thing, I would not like to be a youngster now.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Neither would I.
Yeah.
We're no longer invisible. We need to make ourselves visible, and this was an opportunity to do just that. Yeah, I was also pleased that it was an artist of African Caribbean descent, because I didn't want the gaze to be that of someone who may not have shared some of my experience. The gaze is different when it comes from someone who is similar to you. You're not a specimen, which is the only word I can think to use when you're being looked at by someone else. And because the experience of life can be that of being a specimen when you're a black person, or someone strange, obviously someone different, but often seen as different in a rather negative way.
I took part in this exhibition so I could change my narrative actually, and I think it'll be a really nice thing to have, you know, people of colour on the walls of an area that is mostly white. And I thought it was a really nice opportunity for my face to be on there because I also live in this area and I'm also part of the community.
I think it's a way for me to have a voice. It gives me a voice. It gives me, you know, a way to talk about my struggles with living in Margate and just my you know, my experience as a youth of colour in Margate. And do you know what? I am gonna feel good about my colour for once. I am gonna, you know, like, have something positive, something that's only positive towards my colour. And I think that was important for me to do.